All right, and we're live, and let's make sure it's going out okay on the old YouTubes. Because I am flying solo right now. How we doing? Come on. And wow, I got an ad when I'm trying to see my own fucking video. Isn't that nice? All right, we sound okay. But I'm not turning my ads off. Yeah, I only get a few cents a day, but damn it, them's my pennies. Actually, I don't want to risk messing around with the monetization just on the off chance that it messes with the super chats. That's why I leave it on. I totally understand if people use ad block. I'm just too much of a boomer to install it. Oh boy. So I spent like almost all day doing some spring cleaning. It's funny, I did some spring cleaning last weekend too. Part of the reason is because I just kind of, not only was it spring, but I had that sort of fresh start feel. Because while I haven't mentioned it on the air, I quit my job, not this past week, but the week before. I gave the week's notice and then spent this past week securing another job, which I start Monday. A better job that is going to start me at more than I was making, and after 90 days, I'll be hired on full time. It's union. It's 5 minutes from my house, which is remarkable to me, and it's good stuff. But yeah, I was spending last week trying to find work. I left the old. It'd been building up for a while. It was never a good job, but I just stuck there because I needed something. I needed something regular. I had such a hard time finding good work that I just stayed there, even though it was shit. Because like it was bad money. It was bad conditions. I mean, there were things going on there that were unethical, probably illegal. And in fact, I intend to actually file a complaint with the labor board. But I wanted to leave on, it got to a point where the one boss I realized was getting under my skin to the point where I'm like, he's going to catch me in just the wrong mood on just the wrong day. And I'm going to tell him to suck my dick and walk out the door. And I don't want to leave a job unprofessionally like that. So I decided it was time to move on. And gonna suck a little bit having that week with no pay, but it's okay. I got a little bit squirreled away in the PayPal from various donations, and it'll cover it. And you all have been very generous with donations, even your super chats and all that. And unfortunately, it'll probably be a couple weeks before I get that first chunk of super chats, but it'll definitely help. So I'll be fine. I got myself in a better situation. But yeah, that's why the schedule was in flux last week. And I didn't want to bring it up while I was still looking because, well, you know how it is. You don't want to sound like DSP. You know what I mean? Help me. Everybody help me. That dog's making a bunch of noise back there. Why are you making a bunch of noise? Why are you licking your empty bowl with your chain clanking against it? You have already eaten. You do not need to eat anymore. Hey, stop that. You need to stop that. I have dominion over you, beast. Hey, what were we just talking about? You are not starving. You've actually gotten just a touch fat this winter. I know you weren't out that much this winter. Just doing a whole bunch of sitting on ass. Somebody said the dog is still alive. This is a different dog. It's my dad's dog, actually. My dog is dead. Live from Pennsylvania. It's animal cruelty. No, I'm merely explaining that to this beast that I have dominion over him. But yeah, should be a better situation next week, and pretty much the same shift, so shouldn't be too much of a change in schedule. It's like an hour later but at the same time, it's also so much closer to me. I'll basically be, if I stream in the evening, it'll be 12:30 or 1 instead of 12 is when I'd start. Somebody asked, is Arini gone? No, I believe he's back streaming. Didn't he do something with, what's his face? Some Catholic dude. I don't know. E. Michael Jones. Couldn't think of the name. But yeah, he's streaming about the Legos and how they're superior to the Mega Blocks, and good for him. I mean, I'm sort of petered out on that topic until he like really spectacularly shits his pants again, or decides to go after me again. I mean, I sort of whatever, you know. I mean, he never seemed to catch on to the fact that he was the one keeping it alive. He was the one that kept throwing fuel in the fire. But yeah, like I'm not going to do a Bechtloff's outpost just trying to dissect the boring shit of him with some other trad Catholic spurg talking about Legos. Though I will say though, the one thing I did hear, because I tuned in for like a minute because I wanted to see how many people he had, just because I wanted to kind of laugh at that. And sure enough, he had like 15 people watching him when he actually had a reasonably big name guest on, you know, and most of whom were my audience laughing at him. But he said something I thought was fucking hilarious. He goes, there comes a point when a Christian has to realize that he can't save himself. And I'm just like thinking like, yeah, isn't that point like step one? Isn't that point like the start of being a Christian? Like, I don't know if it's the Catholicism or just him sometimes, but sometimes I wonder, like, what do you think Christianity is? Yeah, I guess there does come that point. Isn't that kind of point one? the first point. But anyways, a couple of things I want to talk about. Sorry, I'm snorting like DSP over here. As I was doing spring cleaning in my room, I cleaned the fuck out of my bedroom today. Last week it was my car. I vacuumed the ever loving shit out of my car. You know, put the leather conditioning on the seats, and wiped the glass off, and dusted everything. Just fucking clean the shit out of it. You know. But then this week I was like, okay, I got to get this fucking room clean. You know, I got a Jordan Peterson it over here. I got to fucking get this room clean. So I dust it like a motherfucker. I mean, we're talking like everything's coming off the shelves. You know, books and all the little figures I have, because I'm a big old man child and I got all kinds of action figures. That's all coming down off the shelf. And we're dusting those things off. And then I take my lamp. I got this fucking lamp I pick up at a thrift store one time where it's like a naked lady. She's like on her back with her legs kind of up in the air. And it's like solid black ceramic. And on top of her 1 foot is the lamp part. But I take this thing outside and I, get the air compressor out and I blow it off. I take a few things outside and blow them off with the air compressor. And I'm like, I got a little, it used to be a paintbrush. But I've made it kind of like a dusting brush for like small little figures or something. I dust off every fucking action figure. I dust off every surface. I dust the ever loving fuck out of that room. Clean my window, everything, just fucking going nuts. Cleaning the glass on pictures, that sort of thing. And then after that, and I mean that took fucking forever. Then vacuum the carpet, scrub the carpet, kind of thing. So I'm doing that forever today. That took probably 4 hours of my afternoon. And then as I'm doing that, I'm listening to some live or some videos and stuff. One of which I listened to a little bit of Roosh's live stream today because John Steele recommended it in the Discord actually. And Roosh is in this really weird stage right now. He's finding God. Well, I mean, that can. I hate the way this sounds, but that could be good or bad. Okay, because are you actually finding God, or are you finding God the way a certain associate of mine once claimed to have found God? Is it a costume you're putting on, or are you serious about it? But I've noticed, and I don't want to badmouth Roosh because I like Roosh. I really do. I want to like Roosh, and he was a great boss when I worked over at Reaction. He's never been anything but good to me. But he is, he's putting his shit out there. So you put your shit out there, somebody else will disagree with it. That's not personal. Forney and I had a back and forth on the stream last night, and it's not personal. We're still buddies. There's only one jackass I've known who takes that gay shit kind of personally. Anyways, so I've noticed with Roosh, like, it was a little while ago, he put out something where he was talking about, like, guys being into butts, like girl butts, is one step above being gay. You're all about butts. You like a girl's butt, so you're gay. It's one step above being gay. And then he kind of conflates it with anal sex, and like, well, anal sex is gross. And like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily argue your point there. But I mean, a guy being an ass man doesn't inherently mean he's into anal sex, first of all. But it just struck me as kind of like dumb, kind of like philosophizing your preference, which again, some other guy I used to know did that a lot. But I mean, I could sit here and pull a lot of shit out of my ass, no pun intended, about well, if you like tits, I think that just means that you're a man child. You're an emotionally regressed child, and you're just longing for mommy's milkers. Well, no, I don't actually think that. That's fucking stupid. You just like tits. All right. And then like a bunch of people pointed out how fucking stupid how asinine that was. And then Roosh is sort of like, well, see, I touched a nerve. I got people mad at me. So you can get people mad at you. They were just laughing at you. They thought it was stupid. I mean, today I hop onto a stream and he is going on a diatribe. I don't think I said that right. I am retarded, folks. But he's going off about how it's wrong to shit in a public restroom. He's like, I go in a public restroom to take a piss, and I gotta smell someone's shit that they took a shit in there a while ago. It's like, yeah, people shit in public restrooms. That's what they're like. I don't particularly like doing it, if I'm being honest with you. And sometimes one of them's so fucking unclean, I want no part of it. But like, that's what they're for. People when they're out and about need to relieve themselves, either number one or number two. And, many public businesses, they decide to have a place for that. Like when at first he's going off about public defecation, and I thought he meant like people just shitting on the street or something. I thought he talking about designated shitting streets or something. But no, he's just like, don't ever shit in a public restroom. It's wrong. I'm like, when did Roosh become weirdly prudish? It's such a weird timeline we're in. And he's going on about and some of the stuff he was going on like about sounded like weirdly neurotic. Like he was talking about like back when I had an office job, if I had to shit at work, I'd go upstairs to the bathroom no one used, and if in the middle of my shit somebody would come into that bathroom, I'd freeze up and panic like I'm going to be exposed. And I'm like, that doesn't sound healthy, man. Like what? again, I'm not necessarily, a fan of having to shit in a public restroom. All things being equal, I'd rather shit in my own toilet. But it's not something like, my whole day is ruined if I had to do it, or like I feel like I should apologize to the world for what the hell's going on here, man. And then he's talking about how like he talked about that on Twitter, and everybody got mad at me. Nobody's getting mad at you. They're just pointing out how asinine this is. They're just kind of laughing at you, man. It's not the same as getting mad at you. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too hard on the guy because I'm seeing some parallels to somebody else I used to know. So that could be it. But I'm listening. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Somebody says he recently lost his sister. I think that's a major issue. Well, that's a shame. My condolences. I didn't really know that. So, I mean, in the off chance Ruth should hear this, no lie, my sincere condolences there. That's no good. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed a little asinine. And I don't know. Maybe it's a parody. Maybe he's exaggerating to try and get a rise. I don't know. But he doesn't seem like he's into that anymore. Like that. Oh, I was just a prank, bro. Like with his rape article. It was just a thought experiment. You were trying to get a rise out of people with that, and that, for clicks. I get it. Gonna pick a really noisy toy, and then sit right down next to me. Are we? That's the plan. Make a whole shitload of noise. That's good. That's good. That's wonderful. I'm sure that's loud as fuck. I apologize. Steve Jerky says, I stopped taking Rouge seriously when he made a video about how he doesn't wash his hair. I was unaware of that. I don't know the context of that, but that sounds grody. And the ass is attractive because wide hips signal how the woman is fit for birthing labor. Yeah, men like curves in a woman, and not the bullshit feminist thing where it's like some 400-pound lard ass. I'm talking like men like big old titties and a round ass and a little waist. That's what men like. Now, some men are a bit more into the titties, some men a bit more into the ass. Then you got them weirdos into the feet. But the point is, that's what most men like, But I just kind of thought the weird like public restroom neuroticism, the bashful colon and bladder syndrome or whatever, just struck me as a little bit odd coming from the alpha, from the guy who sold being an alpha. Somebody says, Cernovich doesn't wash his hair either. He says you're a beta cuck if you do. Hey, Matt Forney says washing your hair is gay. Where the fuck did this come from? Where is this a thing? Am I being fucked? I know it's almost April Fool's Day. Am I being fucked with? Is this washing your hair is disgusting now? Is gay? Is what? What? I mean, in all fairness, Forney, I'm not sure if you're really the guy to ask about that. Too much shampoo destroys your scalp's natural oil production and paradoxically makes you dirtier. Clipping your toenails is gay. Just kidding. Okay. Cowardly the dog sends 2 British pounds and says, hashtag dandruff gang rise up. That's right, chat. Rise up. Live in a society. Washing your hair is just a liberal plot. Must you do that right next to me, buddy? Oh, you're killing me. I'm quite certain that's loud as fuck. Zach the Bong Ripper says, washing your hair is gay. I don't even wash my pubic hair. Chat says, washing your balls is beta. Somebody says, the dog is hilarious. He's loud as fuck. You know what he is currently chewing on? He had a plastic bucket that was where all his toys went. And about a week ago, he has decided that the bucket not only is itself a toy, but is his favorite toy. He actually would swing it around by the handle, like grab the handle and swing it around till the handle eventually came off. Now he's taken to chewing the ever-loving fuck out of the bucket. Somebody says, doggo confirmed for co-host. This is true. Hi, Alpha sends $2 and says, obese, stinky dude shouldn't publicly defecate. Well, I mean, I'm overweight. I'm not obese. And I'm not stinky. I'm not on the, shampoo is a liberal plot bandwagon. I don't really know where that came from. A lot of people are saying that's the thing. Most of the public restrooms in my area aren't bad. I can't really think of any places I frequent that have disgusting public restrooms. I don't know. Maybe I just kind of live in a nice area or something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen public restrooms where I'm like, this is awful. My dog wouldn't take a shit in here, kind of thing. But I have not a lot around here that are particularly bad. And Steve's Jerky says, "Why use deodorant when you can use soy candles?" Somebody is in the chat posted some, I guess, Japanese or Chinese lettering. Toad You Stink says, will you bite the bullet and see Avengers Endgame in theaters? I will probably see Avengers Endgame in theater. I really don't want to have a lot of spoilers on that, so I'll probably see that opening weekend, but I'm mostly done on going to the theater just because, like I said, the theaters in my area switched this assigned seating crap, which I can't get behind. Toad also asked, did you see Thanos winning in Infinity War coming because of the comics? I'm sort of new to superheroes. Well, yes and no. I mean, I sort of, because it was a two-parter, I sort of figured that they were going to go with the with the sort of Empire Strikes Back, downer ending, cliffhanger ending. So I figured that Thanos would probably successfully wipe out the 50%, especially given the fact that, I mean, anything that is done with the Infinity Gauntlet can just as easily be undone with the Infinity Gauntlet. There's no reason the next one can't, anything that's done with it can easily be reversed by someone else who has the Infinity Gauntlet. In fact, that's the story in the comics that Infinity War movie is loosely based off of is called Infinity Gauntlet. And Thanos does wipe out half of the life in the universe, and a whole other lot of bad shit gets done. But by the end of it, it's all reversed when somebody else gets their hand on the Infinity Gauntlet. So, Yeah, so I mean, I kind of figured that's where they were coming for. I didn't really know who was going to make the cut and who wasn't. Artistic Layman sends $2 and says the Japanese translates to Mr. Davis is a manga. Some dude Sam sends $2. Will Thanos turn Captain Marvel into a housewife? I don't know if even the Infinity Gauntlet is capable of such feats. Tom Bombadil sends $4.99. Says, have you seen the Iron Man left arm theory? I don't believe I have. No. Yeah, I don't know what that's referring to. I could Google it right now. Yeah, I could Bing it. I could DuckDuckGo it. Yeah, and of course I move a little bit in my seat, so he gets up and then goes to another spot in the room to chew his bucket because he doesn't want anyone taking his bucket. And left arm theory. Here we go. Well, it looks like it's just a theory that his left arm is injured. Tony Stark, Iron Man's recurring left arm injury might be hinting at his Avengers Endgame fate. The first Avengers Endgame trailer reveals Stark's dire situation while floating on board the Benatar with no hope of being rescued, blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, we know he gets rescued. We see him in other trailers. Being the first hero since Thanos' looming threat following the Battle of New York, Stark will be at the forefront of the upcoming fight against the Mad Titan. Blah, blah, blah. Tony's injury links him to Thanos and foreshadows his endgame fate. Let's skip ahead there. I don't want to read the whole article. Much has been said about the parallels between Stark and Thanos. Long before they actually met, they knew of each other. Since the Battle of New York, Stark has haunted with the idea of an extraterrestrial being attempting to take over Earth. Thanos, on the other hand, was disturbed by the thought of an Earth dweller, maybe just what's standing between him and his goal of a perfectly balanced universe. Both are futurists who would always make the difficult choices for the greater good, blah, blah, blah. Scrolling through, trying to get to like what the point of all this is. Oh, I see. They're trying to say it's going to hint to Iron Man is going to put on the Infinity Gauntlet. Bechtloff, you should do a ranking of the Marvel movies. I was kind of kicking around the idea of like ranking basically every live-action comic book movie. Or at least like damn near everyone. I'm sure there's a few more obscure ones I don't really know. Sanikin Chief sends $2. Say, will you play online Switch games with fans? Currently, I don't have the online for the Switch. However, I will probably be getting. Well, probably I will be getting it once Mario Maker comes around. Much like with the Wii U, Mario Maker was what finally made me go on get online with the Wii U, and Mario Maker 2 will probably make me do the same thing. So I'll definitely be sharing like Mario Maker courses and shit with everybody. Bechtloff should become a Fortnite streamer. No, I don't want to play Fortnite. Ron in Zenanil 2018 sends $2 and says, what do you think of paleo-paganism like Shintoism? I don't really know a tremendous amount about Shintoism other than it was and possibly is, I'm not sure, but the dominant religion in Japan for a long time. Yeah, I don't know a tremendous amount about those. I know a little bit about like Buddhism, a little bit about like Tao and that sort of shit, or Tao as I always called it. But yeah, I don't know a tremendous amount about those, so I couldn't tell you. And I don't really feel comfortable just spouting off, like I read a Wikipedia article, so I'm gonna act like a fucking expert online. You are making a tremendous amount of noise. What if I reach down like I was going to take your bucket? What happened? You go you go to the other side of the room. That's what you do. Just as I casually reach for it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is, wow, 51 viewers for kind of a nothing Sunday stream. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. The other thing I want to talk about is, I watched a video by Game Theorist. Matt Pat was just talking about, it's called The Problem with the Game Theorists or whatever, the game theory or whatever. And Matt Pat, and I'm not that big of a fan of Game Theorists. I don't even know why I'm still subscribed to it. I liked the content a few years ago, but I just, like, a lot of people want to be on a fuck Matt Pat bandwagon. I don't know if the guy's really a shitbag or not. He seems like a nice guy, but who knows? I just don't think the content is very good anymore. For one thing, I don't give one rosy fuck about Five Nights at Freddy's, and that's like every fucking video he does anymore. And for another thing, there's a few things that, like, every once in a while he'll do something on the channel that's just like really asinine. Like he did one on how much rupees are worth, and when he measures the rupee, like he uses Ocarina of Time and he measures like the basically the icon, the avatar of the rupee that floats on the ground that you pick up, you know, that's like a foot long. And I don't know, like I just never thought that was the canon size of a rupee. You know what I mean? I figured a rupee was probably roughly the size of a coin. You know, the rupee that you see on the ground is a representation of it. And so measuring that seems stupid to me. That's like, I mean, that's just part of the medium. You know what I mean? That's just part of the storytelling of the medium. That would be like if I, as a comic book fan, actually believe that when Spider-Man's spider sense goes off when he's just Peter Parker, there's actually squiggly lines that appear above his head, and like actually half of a Spider-Man mask appears on his face. That's just something the artist does to represent it. That's not actually happening. You know, and manga's full of those sorts of things, the little things here and there that are just some visual shorthand and aren't actually physically happening in space. So I sort of figure that about the rupees. But that's just an example of Matt Pat being kind of asinine, in my opinion. Forney says, throw that dog outside. Well, the poor guy, I wasn't down here nobody was down here with him for a while. Nobody else was home, and I was upstairs doing a shit ton of cleaning. So I'm just sort of going to let him be. Let him have his fun. Anyways, he does a video where he talks about how he's gotten a lot of criticism for using fan art in his videos and not crediting people. And he flat out says, look, there's times I don't catch the fact that it's fan art. And he used Five Nights at Freddy's for an example that supposedly they accidentally used fan art in one of their pictures. Like they didn't even catch it. And I kind of was thinking like just a little bit on like copyright in general and that sort of thing. I don't really, and maybe I'm the bad guy here, but if you're like mad that your fan art showed up in a video, like get the fuck over it. I don't know how else to say. Like, look, if we want to go down the road of everybody's going to be an asshole about copyright shit, then whatever, you know, the Nintendo or whatever company owns the thing you drew a fan art of has every right to shut you down, don't they? If you have every right to try and shut Matt Pat down because he, you know, like, I don't know, especially with fan art. Fan art just seems like it's fucking a meme. You know, it's going to get passed around. You know, if you're really obsessed with credit over it, throw a fucking watermark over the dead middle of it. That's all you can do. You know, I know Luke throws up tons of images, and a lot of times it's fan art. I don't know who the fuck they're from or something, but, you know, if you're absolutely obsessed over your fan art getting credit, throw a watermark over it. Otherwise, quit your bitching. All right. You're already half stealing shit by your logic because you're using someone else's character. All right, buddy. I can't watch you. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you hang on. Oh, he needs a haircut so bad. Scratching his ear, he got his little toenail stuck in a knot, and he was damn near about ready to panic. You just lay down, bud. I can't watch you. If you're going to wander off and do other stuff and get into stuff you shouldn't. Anyways, yeah, I don't. Somebody says put the dog on cam. The webcam actually doesn't work right now. I don't know why. There's some update happened on this computer and the webcam just doesn't fucking work. And I don't use it enough to try and troubleshoot it. So, but anyways, yeah, I don't like, oh, my fan art got so fuck you, shut up. Like, maybe that makes me the bad guy, but shut up. And the other, I was just kind of thinking about copyright in general a little bit today. Like, I was sort of thinking about just the amount of times, like if you wanted to be completely like a complete shithead about stuff, the amount of things all over the place that would get shut down. You know what I mean? Like, a good example, there's a comic book store along Route 1 that I like to go to. It's down in Maryland, but it's not too far from me. It's maybe like, it's not even an hour. I think it's like 40 minutes south of me. But it's called, like, I think it's called Casey's Comics. It's actually a really nice little comic store, but it's right along Route 1. And like, as you're coming down, coming down Route 1 south, you'll see on the side of the building a big Batman symbol, the yellow oval with the bat in the center and all. And then the sign up front actually has Spawn, like it has the KC Comics thing. And then on one side, it's got like Spawn painted on there. And then on the other side, it's got like Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, is like costume from the 90s. And it's so like weathered that I actually think that sign has been there from the 90s. But the point is, I mean, like, would it be anything other than shitty if like Warner Brothers tried to be like, you can't have that stuff on the side of your business, or Todd McFarlane tried to sue him for having Spawn on the sign. That would be ridiculous. Another good example of this kind of shit is place I used to work at in this area called Jason's Woods. It's a Halloween show. I worked there a few years over the years. And like many Halloween shows, got the haunted barn and the hayride and all this other stuff. These various movie studios could just cripple that place, because all the acts and all the little scenes and shit, almost all of them are stuff from movies. I mean, hell, even the name is kind of ripped from, Jason's Woods. Yeah, it's an obvious reference to Jason Voorhees, but I mean, they got guys playing Jason Voorhees. They got guys playing Freddy. They got guys doing Pinhead. I know the one year they had a Beetlejuice scene. Hell, the one year I played a Xenomorph up in an alien scene in this big rubber costume that smelled like somebody died in it. But those kind of places could be shut down on this sort of crap. If you want, so for these fan artists to be going off and wanting to whine about, oh, you stole my fan art, buddy, you don't want to go down that road, okay? Because you bitching about the fan art is going to result in, Nintendo or whatever company you're drawing shit from being up your ass about stuff. So yeah, let's not go down that path, shall we? Tom Z from Button Naked says, I get pissed when someone at Etsy steals the designs from me that I stole from somewhere else. So he says, unless they're made of money for lol suits, it's not worth it. Yeah, it would be incredibly foolish to start going after that kind of shit. It would be retarded. And frankly, it would, even if you were successful with it, it would only hurt your brand. It would only hurt, even the fucking fucking Nips running Nintendo finally calmed down about that shit. And Nintendo has always been assholes about shit like that. They still are. I mean, like, they closed down the ROM sites, but at least they calmed down about like reviewers and Let's Players and shit. But yeah, I personally, I don't have any sympathy for the fan artists that want to whine. I mean, like, I get wanting to have the credit. I mean, yeah, a good example, like I had Medicare on a stream sometime last year, and it was just sort of fortuitous or fortunate kind of thing. I cannot talk tonight, but I just got lucky basically. Somebody even messaged him on Twitter on my behalf because I was about ready to stream and said, you should go on Bechtloff stream. And, they copied me in the tweet. And I was like, I don't think Medicare knows who I am. He just responded, I'll go on. I don't care. Because he was going on anybody's thing. And so he came on and we had a chat about, he's doing a Channel Awesome stuff at the time. So we talked a lot about eCeleb stuff and that kind of thing. It was great chatting with him. I'm a big fan of Medicare. Love his content. It was nice chatting with him. Well, of course, that stream got mirrored. There's so many people on YouTube that archive every Medicare thing on YouTube. You know what I mean? And on other sites even. So, of course, that stream got mirrored. And I remember one exchange I had with somebody where the first time I saw my stream getting mirrored somewhere ever, really. And I just sort of, I put in the comments and it just popped up. So there weren't a lot of comments. And I said, look, I don't remember my exact wordings, but I said, look, I don't mind you mirroring my stream. I know you're archiving the Medicare stuff. I appreciate that. But I would ask that you put a link to my channel in the description just because I'm a small channel and I can use the extra exposure. And it was like, oh, no problem. Now I could have been an asshole, but like, there's my stream, take down fucking. But I'm not going to do that because it's dickish. Like, who cares? I could use the extra exposure. What does it cost my original stream some clicks? Maybe. Probably not. But even if it did, who cares? Like, clicks are worthless anymore. I mean, unless you're really, really big, the only way you're making money on YouTube is super chats and Patreon and other donations. I mean, the ad revenue is dick. Somebody says flag it. Yeah, flag it. It's exactly what I could have done. Been a flag it. But I'm not a flag it. So I decided not to do that. I did, however, politely ask the guy to, like, could you link to my channel? That'd be great. He was like, oh yeah, sure. So no mundane Bechtloff. No mundane Bechtloff. No. I don't really give a shit if people mirror stuff. Now, another example is I had Thunderfoot use a clip from one of my streams. Now, this was only a clip, so it was fair use. But the copyright system is in YouTube, but you could abuse the fuck out of it. But he used a clip in one of my streams where he was going after Davis Arini, back when Arini and I were still friends. And I put in the comments, I think Forney was trying to be like, take I can't remember. I think Forney was saying, like, don't use my stuff. I can't remember. But I don't want to put words in Forney's mouth. But I messaged him and said, look, I don't file claims or anything, but I'd ask you link to my channel, please. Which he didn't do because he's an asshole. Somebody says Palmer Eldritch has better quality mirrors, to be honest. Yeah, I think I'm actually subscribed to him. Says you are not Matt Mundane. Yeah, I don't like the flag shit. Especially because the flagging system in YouTube is so fucking broken. You're guilty till proven innocent and all this other shit. Like, just recently, my Kang stream from the beginning of February got back up because I won the appeal. I should say won the appeal. We were talking about that Brandy and Monica song from like '98, "The Boy Is Mine," and Luke is playing little bits of the YouTube video or the music video for it, and we're even talking about the video too. So it's completely fair use. Well, I get that stream completely blocked after it was over, and I filed an appeal. I said this is completely fair use. Fuck it, I'll go to court on this shit. You want to? And of course, they never get back to you. These companies don't even realize it. They're just automating all this shit. Which, if YouTube cared, they wouldn't allow that crap. But they don't. What are you going to do? We're lucky we're even allowed online anymore. That'll probably come to an end. Everything will be sanitized. Alrighty. Well, I'm just about done. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a caller. I'm going to go with British James wanted to call in. I'm going to let him hop in. We'll ramble on for a little bit, and then I'll probably wrap it up. Because I kind of want to watch Family Guy. So, I like Family Guy. Is it as good as it needed to be? Or is it good as it used to be? No, but is it still good? Yeah, it's still solid. I like Seth MacFarlane. I mean, hell, the Orville's fucking great. The Orville is single-handedly my favorite thing on television right now. So he says, at least we're not Europe. Well, we'll always have that. We're not Europe. Yeah. Look, for all the problems America has, there is nowhere on God's green earth I'd rather be. Just hands down. This is the place to be. Tom Zoo says, and it's a new episode. Yeah, a new episode of Family Guy, too. I used to have one of those keychains. You know those keychains where it's like, it's got the buttons on it and they have little sound clips? This was right around when Family Guy was making a comeback. Like when it kind of had come back. So it was actually all clips from seasons 1 through 3. But it was little sound clips of Stewie Griffin, like with each button. Like I think my girlfriend got that for me for my birthday one year, but she's like, oh, you like Family Guy? So it was like, you put the sound clips of Stewie Griffin. Hey, who's got an echo here? I think my girlfriend got that for me for my birthday one year, but it was Luke. You got an echo. There you go. But yeah, it was like, you push a button, he's like, damn you, vile woman. So I of course used it to tease the fuck out of my girlfriend all the time. Every time she'd say something, I'd just push that button. British James, do you have a license to be on this stream?
Oh, yes. I'm trying to get my porn license, but there's no way I can do it because it's April the 1st.
Oh. Do you have to tell them which kind of porn? Do you have to be like, applying for the BBC if that's what you're in for?
Well, I'm trying to go onto Pornhub. They're not giving me the prompt to put my license details in. So I won't be able to see hot lesbian girl/girl dribbling scissoring squirt legally.
I'm sorry, British, but James, the only licenses we have left today are for midget tranny porn. So you'll just have to make do with that.
Just run out.
Yeah, they run out all the popular stuff. So if you don't get there early, you got to whack at the really weird shit.
There's no classic quote equivalent. You gotta sell with the diet store own brand.
Excellent. The mind control device is nearing completion.
Stewie, I said no toys at the table.
Damn you, vile woman! You've impeded my work since the day I escaped from your wretched womb.
That is from the first episode, no less.
The pilot specifically.
Yep. I remember staying up to watch that after the Super Bowl. And that was back when the Super Bowl used to run really late too. So it was like a little after midnight when it finally came on.
As much as I do like Family Guy, I always thought the Star Wars specials were probably their best thing. Like the best thing Seth MacFarlane did with the Family Guy franchise.
Oh yeah, they were pretty good. I like at the end when they were all like, when are we going to do the prequels? And he goes, I think the Cleveland show will do those.
Well, I was even mixed between that or the ending to the second one where they said the ending for Empire was shit. Just put the Back to the Future ending instead.
I like all through the jet. I like when like the power goes out. Like the power would go out in each one, and then they tell the story of Star Wars. And like the power goes out in the like for the Jedi one, and like not again. And then Peter's like, "Let's just get through this."
I'm wondering though, what will Seth do? Because I know obviously he's now got his dream show, and if I remember correctly, he has to keep making the Family Guy show just to sort of keep the rights. I mean, he's got his dream show. I mean, I'm just wondering how far he's actually going to take the Orville with. Is he going to try and do the Golden 7 season with Star Trek, or?
I don't know, man. And who knows? Maybe he'll try and spin it off into a franchise. Maybe he'll try and have like spin-off shows or something. I mean. He could go pretty long with the Orville. I think there's quite the well of storytelling potential with that show.
Lord Vader, your inside references to the Los Angeles real estate market haven't given you the clairvoyance to turn a profit on that condo in Glendale, nor has it...
I find your lack of faith disturbing. That property is in a prime location, 20 minutes to the beach, 20 minutes to downtown.
There's nothing to do downtown.
Dude, my favorite bit on those Star Wars things is where like one I think it was the Grandpa Peterson, and he's playing like the Emperor, and he's arguing with Chris that's like Luke Skywalker, but it's like Seth Green, and they're like, you know who I really hate is Seth Green. And like just try like really shitting on Seth Green. He's like, oh yeah, and he's talking about Robot Chicken. He's like, have you seen that stupid puppet show he does? It's on at like 1 a.m. on Channel 100.
Oh, I love that. I wonder if his fans really know how Jewish he really is.
Yeah, did you ever see Sex Drive? Of course you didn't, because you're a person.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't get under my skin either. Not the way Seth Green gets under my skin.
There's an interesting fact. Apparently, we should be seeing Austin Powers 4 this next year.
I did not know that. Did you know the reason that he quit doing that for a while was because Beyonce was so terrible to work with?
Oh yeah, I heard a lot of stories about that.
Like she just sucked the joy out of it for him. So he was like, "Fuck it, I don't want to do it." Like I remember one time seeing an interview with him where they asked like, "What's it like to work with Beyonce?" And you just see the color drain out of his face. And he's looking like he's having a Nam flashback. And he's just like, I don't want to talk about it. She is, by all accounts, an absolutely horrendous human being.
Well, it's Beyonce. What would you expect? But the most interesting thing I found about I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the latest James Bond film. Is it Spectre?
I think so, yeah.
There's actually an interview which is kind of funny when you realize the context of it with Austin Powers, because Daniel Craig says, well, Mike Myers kind of fucked us with in the end with how we did our story. And then you watch the film and you realize that Blofeld is the stepson of James Bond in the film. And I could not laugh at fucking the two babies when you've seen the scene in Austin Powers 3. You've got the fucking glasses on him.
Yeah.
To think, because I mean, they did 3 films. Was it 97, 99, and 2004? It feels so fucking long ago.
I think it was 03. It was either 02 or 03 that the third one. But yeah, there was a bit of a gap. Like, because the first one was kind of a surprise success. So, you know, they weren't like banging out a sequel right away. So it was a 2-year gap. But then, I don't know, man. I feel like they were kind of like Mike Myers didn't really like nobody really had any ideas for it, because the third one just feels sort of slapped together.
Oh yeah, it's repeat. I mean, I was talking to Steele on this. He's never seen the second one, and I end up quoting that film. And he's like, I don't get it. And apparently, a lot of people dislike the second one. I can see it's inferior, but it's nowhere near as bad as people have claimed it to be.
I think it's fine. I think the first and second one are funny enough. It's the third one I think is the really weak link of the bunch.
And mind you, it only just sags because it's not as funny. It's just, you know, it's not bad. It's just not as funny. There's no, all of it is repeat jokes. I mean, I can only think of maybe a few good bits in it, but other than that,
but mind you, 2 things I can't stand in this world: people who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Caine's just always great. I mean, there's no getting around that.
Oh yeah. He's one of those weird actors. He's sort of old, and you see him at this point where he's always in that listing of films where it's almost Michael Caine, like sort of the support. But he actually does quite good support. I mean, one thing he does, I'd say the Dark Knight films did quite well. He was a very good Alfred.
You know what I really liked in the second one was Rob Lowe when he was playing Robert Wagner's character, like the younger version of him. And like he did such an amazing Robert Wagner voice that a lot of people thought that Robert Wagner's voice was dubbed over him.
Mm. Oh.
Rob Lowe's funny as shit, man. Like he's another one of those actors just doesn't get enough credit. And he's just always out there getting it done.
Well, I'm just wondering if Davis has figured out that it's the mojo that he doesn't have, as opposed to, is he going to go back to the 90s to steal it?
He's got to steal from mojo. Dude, somebody sent me a picture of like when Mr. Mackey was banging the bus driver on South Park. No, not the bus driver. It was the really like the Miss Chokes on Dick, and
yeah,
and they said like this is Davis and Hadron, and I was like, you're gonna kill me. That's too funny.
Oh no. Oh no.
I still remember the episode where they killed her off, and because I think they accidentally put was it those sea monkeys in her coffee?
Yeah, and they thought oh man,
and they just go to chefs like we accidentally found out our semen is in Miss Chokes on Dick's stomach. How do we get it out?
Oh, and then like Kenny is like digging around in there or something, like when in the oh dude, that was back when South Park was good though. Somebody says Fat Bastard had me laughing uncontrollably in the second Austin Powers movie. Oh yeah, that was hilarious. Well, he weighs a metric ton and he's unsure of his lineage. What would you call him?
That's surprising because I mean, in terms of a hot comedy thriller, I mean, it certainly didn't have the dip off in quality, say, American Pie had. I was actually surprised. I mean, it's the same director as a lot of those American films actually did the same ones. Like, not Shallow Hal, I'm thinking of something else.
I remember when American Pie first came out, and like my dad went to go see it with me and my best friend in high school, and he hadn't seen any trailers or commercials for it, right? He just knew we wanted to go see it, so he went with us. So that whole sticking a flute up my pussy thing wasn't spoiled for him at all. Like, you know how that was spoiled in the trailers all the time. Like, I stuck a flute up my, and then they cut out. Right. Well, that wasn't spoiled for him at all. So that came out of nowhere for him. And he almost died. Like, he shot Pepsi out of his nose. Because he just wasn't expecting it at all. Just all of a sudden, she's like, this one. And that made me think, like, they really shouldn't have spoiled that in the trailer. Because that would have had such punch if they hadn't have spoiled that in the trailer. You know what didn't get spoiled in the trailer for me at all in one of these comedy movies? Remember in Superbad when the guy talks about how he used to draw dicks all the time?
Yeah.
That didn't get hinted around to in the trailers at all that I saw. That completely that whole bit had me dying. And then they show all the cartoons of dicks that he supposedly had drawn.
All the good food is shaped like dicks.
A gorilla is like peeling a banana, and under the peel is a giant dick. That had me dying. And he's like, and the principal thought I was possessed by a dick demon, and they wouldn't let me eat any dick-shaped foods. You know how many foods are dick-shaped? All the best foods. Oh. I really almost remembered nothing about that movie but that bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad film. It's certainly one of the it's not. I've not watched it. I mean, maybe 5, 6 years ago. It's a long time since I've watched that. But I mean, with most, that's the thing. Even going back to Austin Powers, I mean, most comedies, the newer ones anyway, it's. I can't think of the last good sort of raunchy American comedy that I watched. It just feels like almost in that sort of super bad realm of sort of time.
Oh, you got to go back damn near 10 years to find a decent one. I mean, like, part of that is just because of how much of the bullshit PC is out there and all, and you can't get away with anything anymore. I mean, like, you gotta not give a fuck if you're gonna do a raunchy R-rated comedy. You know what I mean? You have to be willing to offend people, and nobody's willing to do that now. So of course, I mean, you could kind of say like The Hangover was the last one, and even that one was like painfully overrated.
Yeah, even the second and third one are atrocious. I mean, the last good of that sort of period. I did like Role Models a lot, but that's almost 11 years.
You know what I want to see, and I just didn't get around to seeing it in the theater, and I've heard nothing but bad things about it, but I just think that's because I don't like. I want to see that movie with the fat chick from Ghostbusters, where it's like Roger Rabbit, but it's like puppets.
Oh
instead
yeah,
of
I know, the one with
characters.
Mr. McCarthy.
That one looked funny as shit.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, a lot of the reviews I've heard is saying it's not bad. It's just the thing that lets it down is the fat chick.
Well, yeah, I mean, trust me, I don't want to go see that movie because it's a Melissa McCarthy movie. I want to see that movie because that just sounds like a great premise. I mean, like, think of that premise for a second. It's like, go up to somebody, okay, like, hey, remember Roger Rabbit? Yeah. Okay, imagine that, but a hard R, and instead of cartoon characters, it's Muppets. And as soon as I hear that, I'm like, go on. That sounds fucking amazing. Happy Time Murders. That's the name of the thing. I want to see Happy Time Murders. Like, I think I might even, if I see that like Target or FYE or something, I might even just pick it the fuck up. Like, just grab it if it's under $20. You know, if I absolutely hate it, I can sell it to my retro game store. They buy used DVDs.
All right. What a good looking crowd we have tonight.
Don't judge us based on any prevailing oppressive beauty norms.
Oh, okay. Sorry for that. Anyway, I just broke up with my girlfriend.
Your heteronormative relationship is exclusionary and prejudicial.
Okay.
And that's why there's no funny movies anymore. In fact, I'm willing to bet you that's like most of the negative reviews of Happy Time Murders were a bunch of fucking liberal soy boys whining about how it made their pussy hurt.
There's also another aspect I was thinking of because I was looking at my Twitter. There was a slight, I don't say shitstorm, but sort of a tiff between that Amazing Atheist fellow and you know who Dusty Smith is, the sort of proper redneck fedora sort of, who shouts and logic a lot.
Dusty. Yeah,
well,
both of them suck.
TJ ended up retweeting one of Paul Joseph Watson's videos, which is quite a good clip. It mentions, generally speaking, our generation doesn't have. When it comes to sort of content, you've got to look at most YouTube stuff nowadays. It's more reacting to stuff as opposed to making things. It's almost like when you look at a lot of stuff nowadays, it's, it's self-referential, it's yada, 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 it's all that stuff. And he retweets it and he says, oh yeah, well, I don't personally agree with the guy on a lot, but he's correct on this video. Dusty just completely loses his shit and says, he calls him like a literal Nazi and says, you're signal boosting a Nazi. How could you do this?
Well, I really hate to say this, but at least compared to Dusty, Amazing Atheist is a reasonable guy. Now, I think TJ is an absolute fucking scumbag, and he can get out of my helicopter. But compared to fucking Cult of Dusty makes the Amazing Atheist look like the most reasonable, intelligent man to walk this fucking planet. Because Cult of Dusty has an IQ probably in the 70s. And he has an emotional maturity to match. Somebody in the chat, by the way, just said, what about the Ted movies? I've not seen the sequel. However, the first Ted movie is fucking great.
Oh, yeah. First,
but even that, that's going back to 2012. I mean, even that's hardly a new movie.
That's 7 years. Ooh.
Well, now I feel like I can't say anything.
Of course you can, Jason. This is a free speech zone.
Okay. All right, so what else is going on here?
I would say of Cult of Dusty, he might not be a degenerate, but he's got the biggest chip on the shoulder when it comes to religion. It's with TJ, you say religion to him, and yeah, he's a fedora, but he doesn't seem to get sort of triggered completely, even though obviously he's groomed kids. There's almost a weird aspect to both of them.
Yeah, Cult of Dusty just gets fucking spurgy as shit. Like he's just he's just a shithead. Like he honestly makes TJ seem good. He makes TJ seem decent by comparison. It's quite the remarkable feat, really. Like people should actually study like scientists should study Cult of Dusty because he's that worthless a human being. They should actually go down in some sort of fucking Guinness Book of world shittiness. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because it's almost time for Family Guy, and I didn't want to stream that late anyways. But Luke's sharing fan art. Oh no, we're gonna get. Oh no, Luke, are you crediting that fan art properly? I don't give a shit. Okay. If somebody wants credit so bad, you put a watermark over it. All right, I'm not. I don't care. All right, so that's about all we got for tonight, folks. If you enjoy the show, do consider checking out the sponsor. We got Steve's Jerky, and Steve's Jerky is delicious, and it also protects you. In my humble experience, it will protect you against the curses of witches and wizards. So get you some Steve's Jerky. It is delicious and will restore your mana points. So also we got down below, you see the PayPal, Patreon, and Amazon wish list. Those are all ways you can support the show, and supporting the show is greatly appreciated. So that's all we got for tonight, folks. I want to thank you all for listening for this end of March show. And I'm probably not doing any kind of dumb April Fool's Day shit tomorrow. And I know that sounds like I'm setting it up to do some dumb April Fool's Day shit, but I really mean that. I'm probably not going to. There's not going to be like a pro free folk article or video up tomorrow or something. Don't worry about that. But yeah, that's about all we got for today. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.